Hello, welcome back to Emily A to Z. My name is Emily and today is my April TBR. I am very excited. I feel like I got back into the swing of things in March. I read like between 13 and 15 books. I'm not quite sure on the number yet. I didn't finish all of my March TBR, and that's okay, but I'm feeling really good. I'm really excited. So anything that I have not finished from my March TBR, / a couple still things from February I never finished, that is okay. I'm prioritizing each month's TBR, and then if I have time, I'm gonna go back and like try and complete those past months, if that makes sense. So I'm focusing on April. If I finish April's, then we'll try and tackle what I left off in February, what I left off in March, and just see if I can actually make it through all of my planned TBRs. We'll see. Because I have also a stack of like hopefuls of things that I would love to get to this month that is not part of any TBR. So, you know, I just have all the plans, all the excitement, like renewed vigor and interest for reading. Who knows what's happening to me? But let's jump right in. So first and foremost, for the family book club, we are all still working on the Book of Everlasting Things. So I didn't touch it in March, and that's okay. No one else has finished the book yet, so I am still happily working on the Book of Everlasting Things by Anshul Malhotra. So for my local library, the Read with Pride book club, the pick for April, and I'm very excited about this, is The Song of Achilles. I've been wanting to read this since last year, if not longer. Like, I have heard about it. I want to read it. My coworkers have all read it. One of them especially is like, it's going to break you in the best way possible. And I'm like, awesome, school, sign me up. This is following this is a Greek mythology retelling of Achilles. Achilles, the best of all the Greeks, son of the cruel sea goddess Thetis, and the legendary king Peleus, is strong, swift, and beautiful, irresistible to all who meet him. Patroclus is strong, swift, is an awkward young prince, exiled from his homeland after an act of shocking violence. Brought together by chance, they forge an inseparable bond, despite risking the gods' wrath. They are trained by the centaur Chiron in the arts of war and medicine, but when word comes that Helen of Sparta has been kidnapped, all the heroes of Greece are called upon to lay siege to Troy in her name. Seduced by the promise of a glorious destiny, Achilles joins their cause, and torn between love and fear for his friend, Patroclus follows. Little do they know that the cruel fates will test them both as never before and demand a terrible sacrifice. Oh, I love Greek mythology. I love Greek retellings. I'm leaning towards doing like a whole year of like Greek retellings next year. Like, already have things in the works, right? I didn't realize this was her debut novel. I read Circe years ago. Didn't realize that this was her first novel, that The Song of Achilles was her debut, and that Circe's came after. Did not know that. But here we are. And I know that Rachel, of Rachel's Cozy Corner, also wants to read this. So if you watch both of us, and you want her to read it too, go bug her. Rachel, I'm bugging you. Read this with me. Read it, and then we can read it together and talk about it, and it'll be great. So that's up. I'm very excited. I did get like 25% of the way through this last year, but there were so many holds on the books and on the audiobooks that I didn't finish in time, and I just was like, it's fine. I let it go. I'll try again this year. It's so popular. Then, through my local library club, the online reading challenge, we're doing genres. Every month is a different genre. For April, the genre is a coming of age or a Bildungsroman. I think I've said that correctly. And their pick is the Topeka School by Ben Lerner. I don't know. Sorry, I have such a glare. It's so cloudy out, but yet. The Topeka School by Ben Lerner. I know nothing about this. Adam Gordon, what a name, is a senior at Topeka High School, class of 97. His mother, Jane, is a famous feminist author. His father, Jonathan, is an expert at getting lost boys to open up. They both work at a psychiatric clinic that has attracted staff and patients from around the world. Adam is a renowned debater, expected to win a national championship before he heads to college. He is one of the cool kids, ready to fight or better, freestyle about fighting if it keeps his peers from thinking of him as weak. Adam is also among the seniors who bring the loner, Darren Eberhardt, who is, unbeknownst to Adam, his father's patient, into the social scene to disastrous effect. Definitely shifting perspectives on time periods, Ben learns the Topeka School is the story of a family, its struggles, and its strengths. Jane's reckoning with the legacy of an abusive father, Jonathan's marital transgressions, yikes, the challenge of raising a good son in a culture of toxic masculinity. It is also a riveting prehistory of the present, the collapse of public speech, the trolls and tyrants of the new right, and the ongoing crisis of identity among white men. Am I going to hate this? Just feel like this just sounds like something I might end up hating. We'll see. Do we have, is it told in verse? No. Is it told in like diaries? No. Okay. We'll see. I mean, it has a tornado, like Topeka, Kansas. I don't know. The morbidly curious book club pick for April is Waco Rising, David Koresh, the FBI, and the Birth of America's Modern Militias by Kevin Cook. I know this is awful. This is such a horrible thing. This cover, it's terrible. Like, that's a building on fire, right? The dark smoke, the gray sky. In a weird, in a morbid way, this cover is beautiful. And I don't know how else to describe that. Timothy McVeigh bombed a federal building in Oklahoma City on April 19th, 1995, the second anniversary of the fire at Waco, as payback for the government's actions against David Koresh and his followers. In 1999, school shooters timed their attack at Colorado's Columbine High to commemorate Oklahoma City and Waco. Remember Waco became a rallying cry for militants. The Oath Keepers founder warned federal agents not to Waco today's militias. According to a 3%ers co-founder, Waco can happen at any given time, but the outcome will be different this time. One of the January 6th rioters, a gun rights firebrand known as Monkey King, planned to barricade himself in his house for a standoff with police he referred to as Waco 2.0. The incident at Waco remains the deadliest action by federal forces on American soil since 1890, for now at least. Here's what happened in 1993 and why it matters more than ever today. I didn't realize this was so recent. This was published in 2023, so this is still very new. Hence, talking about the January 6th riots. So this is, in Waco Rising, Kevin Cook provides the authoritative account of the FBI's 2-month siege of David Koresh and his Branch Davidians. He tells the full saga of 51 days that changed America, culminating in a firefight that killed 76, including more than 20 children. Cook shows how the events in Waco are hardwired into the DNA of American extremists, from Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh's claim that Waco started this war to the January 6th insurrectionist who planned a revolt he called Waco 2.0. This is the story of how Waco became the big bang for today's anti-government extremists. So that's that. That's a pick. Yikes! Getting into Kayla of Books and Lala, her challenges in book clubs. So for the Buzzwordathon, the April task is to have an animal in the title. I am going to be attempting this bad boy, all 570 pages, not including the author's note or acknowledgements, 564 pages of The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is set in World War II, following a nurse, I believe. With courage, grace, and powerful insight, best-selling author Kristen Hanna captures the epic panorama of World War II and illuminates an intimate part of history seldom seen, the Women's War. The Nightingale tells the stories of two sisters separated by years and experience, by ideals, passion, and circumstance, each embarking on her own dangerous path towards survival, love, and freedom in German-occupied, war-torn France. A heartbreakingly beautiful novel that celebrates the resilience of the human spirit and the durability of women. It is a novel for everyone, a novel for a lifetime. My sister bought this book for me for Christmas a couple years ago, and I know that she told me that it made her cry. So, I am reading The Nightingale because the nightingale is a bird, and It's in the title. Oh, I keep picking books that are gonna make me cry. But you know what? I say that. I have yet to cry over a book this year. Maybe this is the one that'll make me cry. Who knows? For the books, for Books and Lala's Buzzword Cover Challenge, same thing where now we have to find something on the cover of a book. It is also animals for the month of April. So theoretically, like two books with one stone, right? The Nightingale has a bird in the title, and there is in fact a nightingale on the cover. I could use this and it would fulfill both prompts, both challenges. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to instead read The Rook by Daniel O'Malley. If you remember, I tried to read this last year, lost interest in it really quickly. I think I just was not in the mood headspace for like another kind of sci-fi adventure. This is about Miffany, and I know that that is how it's pronounced. Miffany Thomas awakes in a London park surrounded by dead bodies. With her memory gone, she must trust the instructions left by her former self in order to survive. She quickly learns that she is a rook, a high-level operative in a secret agency that protects the world from supernatural threats. But there is a mole inside the organization, and this person wants her dead. Battling to save herself, Miffany will encounter a person with 4 bodies, a woman who can enter her dreams, children transformed into deadly fighters, and a terrifyingly vast conspiracy. Suspenseful and hilarious, The Rook is an outrageously imaginative debut for readers who like their espionage with a dollop of purple slime. My sister also bought this book for me a couple years ago. I believe it is the first book in a series, first in a trilogy, but it's the first in a series, and apparently it's now a TV show, so you could watch the TV show if you wanted. This has lions, a bunny, and an octopus on the cover. So multiple animals on this cover. And then last but not least, for the Literally Dead Book Club, I just got the March pick, by the way. The April pick is The Inheritance by Trisha Sakalesha. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. This is The Inheritance. It is a brand new release. This came out in January, I believe. It came out recently. We're gonna say January of 2025. This says, most family reunions end in tears. This one will end in murder. Meet the Agarwals. That's also a name. The Agarwals, who have gathered on a private luxury island off the west coast of Scotland for a much anticipated family reunion. Raj, the patriarch and a business tycoon, is about to announce to his wife and 3 children the succession plan for his multi-million-dollar Delhi-based company. Shalini, the fragile matriarch, is ready to have her husband to herself after years of sacrifice to the family business. Mira, or Myra, the golden child, owner of the island and host of the reunion, is, unbeknownst to her family, on the brink of bankruptcy. Asim, the son and supposed heir, is torn between his love for his wife and his duty to family. Aisha, the youngest, a party girl whose antics are legendary, can't pass up an opportunity to wreak havoc. And then there's Zoe, Asim's wife, the outsider whose #InstaPerfect life is built on a foundation of lies. They've all got secrets they would die to protect. Who will survive this high-stakes reunion, and who will become a victim of their own greed? One thing is certain, this family gathering will shatter more than just their illusions of unity. Is this going to be a locked room mystery? Because it's on an island and someone dies and we have to figure out who did it? Are we going to get chapters from different characters? Yes, so like I just saw this chapter is from Myra. This chapter is from Zoe. We have a little bit of mixed media. Is it just bouncing between Zoe and Myra? The oldest, the golden child, and then her brother's wife. Oh, is there going to be something going on there? Possibly. Is it sapphic? Who knows? But this is her April pick. Then I have my prime reading pick that I picked this month. I did not pick the short story. It did not appeal to me. It was like, what would you do for the love of to get over your ex or whatever? I'm not interested. The one I did pick though is the like gothic thriller, The Artist of Blackberry Grange by Paulette Kennedy. In the summer of 1925, the winds of change are particularly chilling for a young woman whose life has suddenly become unbalanced. Devastated by her mother's death and a cruel broken engagement, Sadie Halloran learns that her great-aunt Marguerite, a renowned artist now in the throes of dementia, needs a live-in companion. Grasping at newfound purpose, Sadie leaves her desolate Kansas City boarding house for Blackberry Grange, Marguerite's once grand mansion sitting precariously atop an Arkansas bluff. Though Marguerite is a fading shell of the vibrant woman Sadie remembers, Marguerite is feverishly compelled to paint eerie, hallucinatory portraits of old lovers, some cherished, some regretted, and some beastly, all of them haunting. With each passing night, time itself seems to shift with the shadows at Blackberry Grange. As truth and delusion begin to blur, Sadie must uncover the secrets that hold Marguerite captive to her past before reality and Marguerite's life slips away entirely. So we've got this like gothic thriller, historical fiction gothic. Then we're getting into Magical Stitches, which of course is the group that I run. It is a cross-stitch and reading group we run on Facebook. You are more than welcome to join in at any time. If you want to participate in any degree, that does not make a difference to me. If you want to jump in and just cross-stitch and not read, fine. If you want to jump in and just read the books, that's fine too if you're not a stitcher. If you want to jump in and do both, I welcome you with open arms. We're just here to have fun. The entire theme of the year for Magical Stitches is, of course, a series of unfortunate events. The book that everyone is reading for the month of April is book number 5 in the series, The Austere Academy. I don't have it with me, but we are following the Baudelaire children as they are sent off to Prue Frock Preparatory School and the adventures they get up to there and what fate befalls them whilst at a boarding school. Each month, aside from the monthly book, we also have 3 additional challenges that can fall through the holes of anything. That was a weird sentence, but here we are. It can cover the gambit, right? It can be a title challenge, it can be a cover challenge, it can be a character challenge, content challenge. It just has to be something fun. This month, we have a title challenge, a page challenge, and a content/character challenge. Number 1, you need to read something that has one of the 4 seasons in the title. Spring, summer, fall or autumn, and winter. That word has to be in the title. I just read, if you are into campy horror and not squeamish, I just read Our Winter Monster by Dennis Mahoney. I gave it a 4, not 4.5. I gave it 4 stars. That has the word winter in it. I'm going to be reading An Age of Winters by Gemma Liviero. In the 17th century, witchfinders rule and paranoia thrives in a chilling novel about unrequited love, persecution, and betrayal by the best-selling author of The Road Beyond Ruin and Broken Angels. That's not a 9, that's a 6. In 1625, the Franconian village of Eisbach has been plagued by disease, famine, heinous crimes, and a merciless winter. Catherine Jaspers is the maidservant to the enigmatic Reverend Zacharias Engel, appointed by Rome to cure the village of suspected diabolism and save every God-fearing soul. Zacharias soon finds his first witch, and the public burning of a local man could spell the end of misfortune. As a sense of peace settles over the village, Catherine finds herself increasingly infatuated with Zacharias, who is a disruption to her predictable existence and a balm for her cruel past. But peace for Catherine is short-lived. Margareta, hey now, these names. Margareta Katz, the new midwife, is seen as a rival for the Reverend's attention. Fear and recrimination reach a fever pitch when a great tragedy sets the town fully on edge. With the walls of winter closing in around Eisbach once again, rumors flourish and villagers turn on each other. Now, no one is safe from the pyre. Another historical fiction, kind of gothic sounding. This takes place in old school Germany. I've got a lot of historical on my list, which is so interesting to me. Anyways, next, you need to read a book that is over 400 pages. Now, if it is 401 pages, that counts. This does not have to be crazy. It just pulled up on like my random bingo board that I have here in front of me. That's what number was drawn. So you have to read a book that has over 400 pages. The book I am reading is 1,000 Recipes for Revenge by Beth Cato. I actually own this as an ebook on my tablet. This was a Prime First Reads pick. And Age of Winters is also a Prime First Reads pick. So I am reading it on my tablet. That's why I didn't hold it up. This also is a Prime First Reads book that I got whenever this came out, however long ago. This was published in 2023, so 2 years ago. I picked this as one of my books. I think it is a sci-fi book, and it is the first in a trilogy, I believe, as well. A Delicious and Dangerous Magic. Adamantine Ada Garland. Her last name is Garland, really? Adamantine Ada Garland has an empathic connection to food and wine, a magical perception of aromas, flavors, and ingredients. Invaluable property of the royal court, Ada was in service to the five gods and to the gods-ordained rulers of Verdania, until she had enough of injustice and bloodshed and deserted, seeking to chart her own destiny. When mysterious assassins ferret her out after 16 years in hiding, Ada, now a rogue chef, and her beloved grandmère, French, run for their lives only to find themselves on a path toward an unexpected ally. A foreign princess in a strange court, Solène unknowingly shares more with Ada than an Epicurean gift. They share blood. With her newfound magical perception, she becomes aware of a plot to kill her fiancé, the prince. It's part of a ploy by adversarial forces in the rival country of Albion to sow conflict, and Solène is set up to take the blame. As Ada's and Solène's paths converge, a mother and her long-lost daughter reunite toward a common goal and against a shadowy enemy from Ada's path who is out for revenge. But what sacrifices must be made? What hope is there when powerful gods pick sides in a war simmering to eruption? I don't know. I own it. This is not necessarily something I would gravitate for. I wouldn't be surprised if I DNF it. I'm not going into it with like the thought like I'm gonna DNF this. I'm not. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not excited about it. Version says it's 395 pages. My Kindle version is at like 401 pages. Like it meets the threshold. So I'm counting it because my version, the edition that I will be reading, has 400 pages, has over 400 pages. Then the other one is to read a book that has LGBTQIA plus rep, and someone just brought up a good question. They asked me what I meant by that I had an alphabet and then I had plus rep and they didn't know what that meant. So I will have to clarify. But what I mean is I want you to read a book that has a queer character. I need it to have queer representation. I will be reading Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. If this seems familiar, it's because I also had this on my TBR last year and I did not get to it. So here we are again. Wanted, one fake boyfriend practically perfect in every way. Luke O'Donnell is tangentially and reluctantly famous. His rock star parents split when he was young, and the father he's never met spent the next 20 years cruising in and out of rehab. Now that his dad's making a comeback, Luke's back in the public eye, and one compromising photo is enough to ruin everything. To clean up his image, Luke has to find a nice, normal relationship, and Oliver Blackwood is as nice and normal as they come. He's a barrister and an ethical vegetarian, and he's never inspired a moment of scandal in his life. In other words, perfect boyfriend material. Unfortunately, apart from being gay, single, and really, really in need of a date for a big event, Luke and Oliver have nothing in common. So they strike a deal to be publicity-friendly fake boyfriends until the dust has settled. Then they can go their separate ways and pretend it never happened. But the thing about fake dating is that it can feel a lot like real dating. And that's when you get used to someone, start falling for them, don't ever want to let them go. I also feel like this is a series. This is my LGBTQIA plus romance. Apparently I'm just reading queer romance, not regular romance this year. And you know what? Fine by me. Men. So that wraps up my book clubs. That's my official TBR. And then here I am, the audacity to have a stack of hopefuls. Oh, also, my sister got me this as well. I have a stack of hopefuls that I want to get to. What are these? Why do I have them? Because I work at a library and I can't help myself. That's why. We have Growing Things and Other Stories by Paul Tremblay. I grabbed this for books that had green covers, just so I could take a photo of books with green covers, and yet here we are. And this is a chilling collection that blurs the lines of psychological suspense, supernatural horror, and literary fiction. This is 19 pieces of short fiction. The Teacher, a Bram Stoker Award nominee for Best Short Story, a student is forced to watch a disturbing video that will haunt and torment her and her classmates' lives. 4 men rob a pawn shop at gunpoint only to vanish one by one as they speed away from the crime scene in The Getaway. In Swim Wants to Know If It's As Bad as Swim Thinks, a meth addict kidnaps her daughter from her estranged mother as their town is terrorized by a giant monster. Or not. A young woman revisits her pretty childhood home, and the ghost of the past she cannot escape in a haunted house is a wheel upon which some are broken. There are a couple stories linked to Tremblay's previous novels. The tour de force metafictional novella Notes from the Dog Walkers deconstructs horror and publishing, possibly bringing in a character from A Head Full of Ghosts, all while serving as a prequel to Disappearance at Devil's Rock. I have not read Disappearance at Devil's Rock. The 13th Temple follows another character from A Head Full of Ghosts, Mary, who has published a tell-all memoir written years after the events of the novel, and the title story, Growing Things, a shivery tale loosely shared between the sisters and a head full of ghosts, is told here in full. I knew it sounded familiar. Then I'm not too worried about the one that says it's a prequel to Disappearance at Devil's Rock. I'll read it, and then if I still am interested in that novel, I'll grab it later. So I read A Head Full of Ghosts last year, so this is not going to bother me that it has stories connected to characters from A Head Full of Ghosts. Mary was the main character of that, aside from her sister. So we've got 3 tales connected to A Head Full of Ghosts, which I love. Notes from the Dogwalkers, and then the 13th Temple. Then Growing Things. So in that novel, Mary and her older sister, who was having like a mental health crisis, her sister would tell her this horrible, terrifying story about like growing things, about like these like vine monster creatures that came and like took over their parents, I believe. And it sounded really creepy. So now he has actually written that story that the sisters like told themselves. I love that. That's so cool. Didn't know that was on there. Another one that I picked for my green photo was State of Paradise by Laura Vandenberg. It sounds like weird fic, and I just can't help it. It's another summer in a small Florida town. After an illness that vanishes as mysteriously as it arrived, everything appears to be getting back to normal. Soul-crushing heat, torrential downpours, sinkholes swallowing the earth, ominous cats, a world-bending virtual reality device being handed out by a company called Electra, and an increasing number of posters dotting the streets with the faces of missing citizens. Living in her mother's home, a ghostwriter for a famous thriller author tracks the eerie changes. On top of everything else, she's contending with family secrets, spotty memories of her troubled youth, a burgeoning cult in the living room, and the alarming expansion of her own belly button. Then, during a violent rainstorm, her sister goes missing. She returns a few days later, sprawled on their mother's lawn and speaking of another dimension. Now the ghostwriter must investigate not only what happened to her sister and the other missing people, but also the uncanny connections between Electra, the famous author she works for, and reality itself. It just sounds so weird, and I love weird, and it just seems like it's kind of stream of consciousness writing as well. And sometimes it hits and sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. This came out in 2024. It's still fairly new. I'm interested. Lanny by Max Porter. I went to check this out like last year, and the audiobooks just seemed so weird that I was like, I can't listen to this without the book, because it does shit like this. Okay? So when I start listening to it, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So I want to listen to it, but I also think I need to like have it physically in front of me, because we have some weird alt format stuff going on. I'm so interested. There's a village an hour from London. It's no different from many others today. One pub, one church, red brick cottages, some public housing, and a few larger houses dotted about. Voices rise up as they might anywhere, speaking of loving and needing and working and dying and walking the dogs. This village belongs to the people who live in it, to the land and to the land's past. It also belongs to dead Papa Toothwort, a mythical figure that school children used to draw as green and leafy, choked by tendrils growing out of his mouth, who awakens after a glorious nap. He is listening to this 21st century village, to its symphony of talk, drunken confessions, gossip traded on the street corner, fretful conversations in living rooms. He is listening intently for a mischievous, ethereal boy whose parents have recently made the village their home, Lanny. It came across my radar last year, and I just have not been able to stop thinking about it. I have a new horror. This was released in January. This is called At the Bottom of the Garden by Camilla Bruce. Clara Woods is a killer and perfectly fine with it too. So what if she takes a couple of lives to make her own a little bit better? At the bottom of her garden is a flower bed, long overgrown, where her late husband rests in peace, or so she's always thought. Then the girls arrive. Lily and Violet are her nieces, recently orphaned after their affluent parents died on an ill-fated anniversary trip. In accordance with their parents' will, the sisters are to go to their closest relative, who happens to be Clara. Despite having no interest in children, Clara agrees to take them, hoping to get her hands on some of the girls' assets, not only to bolster her dwindling fortune, but also to establish what she hopes will be her legacy, a line of diamond jewelry. But there's only one problem. Violet can see the dead man at the bottom of the garden. She can see all of Clara's ghosts and call them back into existence. Soon Clara is plagued by her victims and at war with the gifted girls in her care. Lily and Violet have become liabilities, and they know far more than they should. What? What? This sounds wild. And last but not least, you know I had to. I've got the Dangerous Convenience Store Volume 4, okay? It's here, it's queer, we love it, right? This is... I'm not gonna lie, I might have gone online and read the entire series online because I could. It's fine, I don't have a problem. This is Volume 4, Gone Baby Gone. After learning more about Gun-Woo's shrouded past, Yui Jun realizes he's in love with him. Just as Yui Jun finally decides to tell him how he feels, Gun-Woo vanishes. In desperation, Yui Jun goes to Gun-Woo's associate, She Hyun, to see if he knows where Gun-Woo has gone and if he's alright. While there, Yui Jun receives a call about his hospitalized brother whose condition has taken a turn for the worse. With Gun-Woo's absence, Yui Jun turns to the only source of comfort available, She Hyun. This is not quite accurate. I'm just gonna put that out there. That's not accurate. They make it sound like Yui Jun turns to this other guy, and he doesn't. I don't care if that's a spoiler. He doesn't. Our man does not falter, okay? He does not do Gun-Woo like this. He doesn't, okay? Okay, glad we got that established. Anyways, they're so cute. They're so cute. Anyways, no questions, comments, concerns. Thank you. Read it if you must. That's my recommendations, and I am ending this here. I've been talking way too long. I'm wrapping it up. Thank you so much for being here for this April TBR. I will see you very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Be easy with your hearts.